Hey traders, Steven here, and I hope you are having a great day. A question I get asked all the time is, does technical analysis work in crypto? And if so, how do you use technical analysis to find profitable trades in the crypto market? So today I'm going to be answering that question. The video you're about to see is a video I shot a couple of days ago pointing out what I was expecting out of the crypto market. And this video is actually part of something new I'm considering launching mainstream. And that is called the Crypto Report, where I'll be doing this type of analysis for whoever decides to sign up for the Crypto Report each and every week. I actually sent this video to a very small test group of some of our paying clients, and the feedback from it has been amazing so far. But before I launch something like this, I want to ensure that there's enough demand for this before going through with the entire launch. So if you are interested in something like this, or would be interested in something like the Crypto Report, where I'm going through the crypto market, telling you my analysis and telling you what I'm expecting to happen throughout the week, then go to www.ttccrypto.com. That's on the screen. Also, a link is in the description, just to let me know that there's enough demand for something like this before I go to launch it mainstream. But with that said, and either way, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys this video and break down the way I use technical analysis to find profitable trading opportunities in the crypto market. Hey traders, just wanted to talk you guys through a little bit of the analysis I'm doing on the crypto market at the moment. We're going to go through about 8 different cryptos. I'm going to explain what I'm looking for and why I'm looking for that. And here we're going to start out with Bitcoin. On Bitcoin, we've just seen a price move on the 4-hour chart, which is the main chart I look at for trend and directional moves. So on the 4-hour chart, we've just seen a massive move to the upside after we've seen some rising support levels coming from this level up, up, up. So we have rising support levels. We eventually get a big, powerful move out of price. This powerful move was enough to break above, significantly break above the 50-period moving average. So with that being the case, now what I'm going to be waiting for at this point on Bitcoin is to wait for a pullback into a previous area of structure, specifically the most recent area that was broken. So what I'm going to do is drop down to a 1-hour chart, and this is where I'll be waiting for that pullback. As you can see, if we do get a pullback to this area, it not only has been resistance in the past, but has also been an area that was tested as resistance and support multiple times looking left. With all those factors coming together, I'm just waiting to see Bitcoin pull back in to this area around 42,693, and that will be an area I start to look for possible buy trades using some type of buying pressure entry reason. So that's my analysis on Bitcoin and what I'm looking for right now. ADA is a pair that I do not really have any analysis on right now. I'm not seeing anything that looks super convincing, and on the 4-hour chart, we're still well under that 50-period moving average. So directionally, we're still in a downtrend here on ADA, although I do like the fact that we are creating some higher support levels at this point. So we hopefully will get a bounce out of this, especially if we get a bounce out of Bitcoin. That's going to cause the entire market to go up. As we all know, Bitcoin goes up. That normally means all the smaller coins are going to go up as well. But analysis wise, I don't see an immediate opportunity right now here on ADA. What I will be waiting on is if this level right here gets broken and we see some power coming into Bitcoin, then I'll look for a pullback into that level and hop on for possible buy trades. So that's what I'll be looking for here on ADA if, again, we see some power come into Bitcoin itself. Next up, we have SNX. And yes, from the last video I did, I actually ended up buying in right here, and I long since have been stopped out of that position. I lost money on that, but now we have some new analysis here on ADA, and here on SNX, and I'm actually really liking this for a possible short trade. Let me explain why. Right now, we have very similar resistance levels, support levels, right? We have support here, support here, support here. These are not rising levels like the levels we were looking at on Bitcoin. These are actually very similar. So they're actually the same level of support that's being tested. But at the same time that we have those similar support levels, we're seeing decreasing buying pressure every time we push up. So with that being the case, it's showing me a lot of selling pressure because of the fact that buyers pushed up to here the first time, and then they could only muster up enough strength to push up to here. And lastly, they only ushered up enough strength to push to here. And now we're pushing even lower, and we could possibly see this nice breakout of this descending triangle. Okay, so that's SNX. Let's move on now. I don't think I had anything. Oh, actually, yeah, Dogecoin is looking like a possible buy for me. I know that we're not necessarily above the 50-period moving average, but we do have a slightly higher low. And I know that seems like it's irrelevant, but this higher low can give you a lot of hints. We have a low here. We had sellers, and if we were going to keep going down, it would make more sense that sellers stepped in and kept pushing below this 0.1943 level. So since that did not happen, and instead we had a higher low and have actually seen some buying pressure from there, that's kind of the bias for me wanting to go long here on this specific trade. And what I'm looking for is a pullback here on Dogecoin to around this area, somewhere around the 20-cent mark. And if I get a pullback to that 20-cent mark, I'm not just going to buy for no reason. If I get a pullback to there, though, I can start looking for buying pressure. And if I get an entry reason, then I can continue with that analysis and actually place a trade to go long. Next up, we have Ethereum Classic. Let's take a look at this chart. Let's go out to our 4-hour chart. Here on the 4-hour, on this chart, we're seeing a break above our top trend line of this descending triangle pattern that looks a little bit like this, but that's not enough for me to start looking for buy trades yet. We have a similar area of support here that's been tested. This is a series of consolidation and has declining resistance levels, which could continue to be the case. So if anything, I have a bearish bias here on this crypto, but I'm going to be waiting for this breakout and a pullback into this area of support before I start looking for trades here on Ethereum Classic. Matic or Matic. Let's look at the 4-hour chart. Here we are on the 4-hour. As you can see, we're starting to push up and get above the 50-period moving average. Now, it's not like every time that happens we take off and go crazy, but if you look at historic price, when we start getting above that 50-period moving average, we normally see at least a decent push to the upside after getting above the 50-period moving average. So with that being the case, I'm already primed for a possible trade just by getting above the 50-period moving average. Now what I'm going to do is go down to my lower time frame, and I would like to wait on the pullback to this area of structure that's been tested multiple times right here. So that's the area I'm looking for price to pull back to. If we do get a pullback to that area, I will be looking for possible long trades here around 116 in that area on Matic. And another thing I really like about this trade is the fact that we just broke out to the upside of this triangle pattern. So we have this triangle pattern, and instead of breaking to the downside, you see that we've broken to the upside. With this being the case, most of the time that break to the upside means that we could see more momentum in that specific direction. In this case, more bullish momentum. Again, I'll be waiting for a pullback around 116 before looking for buying opportunities here. Next up, we have the second largest coin in Ethereum. On the 4-hour chart, I like this trade for one, because the 4-hour chart is showing me buying pressure enough to get above the 50-period moving average. Two, we do not have falling resistance levels here. These are the same resistance level, and we do have rising support levels. And the psychology behind this is that buyers are stepping in sooner and sooner to buy up Ethereum, and sellers are not able to stop it, at least most recently, until this level here. So for me, I'm expecting price to get back up to this level. What I want to do next is figure out a way I can get involved. For me, the way I'm going to be getting involved is if I see some type of pullback coming down into the 2950 area. That looks like a nice area for me to possibly enter some trades if I get a good entry reason here on Ethereum and ride this up either to my target around $3,000 or all the way up to these previous resistance levels, depending on what price does. So there was the very first version of the crypto report. Again, I sent that to a very small test group a couple of days ago. Some of the trades ended up working out really well. One or two of them ended up losing, and that's just how trading goes. But the ones that worked out well worked out really well this time, which is really cool to see. Again, the feedback from that was awesome. And if you are someone who would be interested in receiving a video like this once or a couple of times a week, based on market conditions and what I'm seeing in the crypto market, then be sure to go to ttccrypto.com. I just now made the domain, so I don't really remember exactly what it is. It's on the screen though. And just put your name and email in, and if I have enough people, enough demand for something like this, then I'll launch it within the next couple of weeks. If not, that's totally fine too. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you click the like button if you enjoyed it so far. What we're going to do now, though, is take a look at the results of all of that analysis. So we're going to start off doing so on Bitcoin. Here on Bitcoin, you can see that from the exact area we pointed out right here in gray, we ended up having a nice move to the upside. And if you did not notice it throughout the rest of the video, what I'm waiting on most cryptos is, at least for reversal scenarios, is I'm waiting for the 4-hour chart to show me rising support levels. As we go lower and lower, and in this case, we had rising support levels, but the breakout didn't stick. Even though that's the case, we would have hit targets on a 1-hour time frame if we would have traded directly after this little breakout, or if we would have traded this pullback into previous structure. This would have been enough movement. Let me delete it so it's easier for you guys to see. This would have been enough movement on a 1-hour chart to hit our targets. So we're not necessarily trying to capture this huge move like we've seen recently on these cryptocurrencies. We're just trying to ensure that we can hit our initial targets before we move our stop to break even. So on Bitcoin, this ended up working out really well. Again, one of the ways we look at reversals in crypto, or one of the ways I do, is waiting on rising support levels and the breakout of a level of structure, and then waiting for a pullback to that level of structure. The 50 EMA is something I incorporate a lot as well. Waiting for a break of that moving average a lot of times can signal a possible reversal in a market. So move on, ADA, again, I didn't really have that much on this pair, but now I do. Let me explain what I mean. At this point, we have now broken not only above the 50 EMA, but we've created new higher highs compared to our previous high. Just very basic trend identification is all I'm doing. Market structure is all I'm looking at when performing technical analysis on crypto. So at this point, I'm dropping down to the 1-hour chart, and I'm gonna be trading trend continuation, but I need a pullback to our previous level of structure in order to do so. So I'll need a pretty deep retracement here on ADA to start buying, and to start buying more. I'm actually involved in a little bit of ADA right now, but to start buying more, I'll need a pullback into the 2.14 area just to follow my own rules. I don't buy unless I'm in an area of value. What I see a lot is traders will end up seeing something like what's happened in the past day or two, and they will buy at these highs because they don't want to miss out. That FOMO kicks in, that fear of missing out, and they'll buy right here just to watch the market pull back. They'll get scared and they'll exit their position right here, and then they'll get a pop because they don't understand technical analysis, and they don't understand the fact that we have an area of value right here, right? And if I'm going to buy, I'm not going to buy at all-time highs, or I'm not going to buy at brand new highs. I'm going to wait for pullbacks and get value, or get the most valuable entry I possibly can. So on ADA, that's what I'm looking for in the future. Back to the 4-hour chart. SNX, this is one that we got completely wrong. And that's going to happen, especially with how the little coins tend to follow Bitcoin so much. Bitcoin pretty much determines the overall strength of the entire coin market right now. So with that being the case, our analysis here on SNX was wrong. We didn't get into a trade. We almost did right here, but I never really got an entry reason. I was actually waiting for price to come down and give me some kind of retracement to this area of structure. I wanted to see confirmation of this breakout. I wanted to see price break out of the bottom of our support level here and the bottom of our descending wedge before looking for a pullback and continuation. That never happened. And instead, we've now pushed up and went above the 50. So guess what? My analysis is changing. At this point, I'm dropping down to the 1-hour chart, and similar to ADA, I'm waiting for a pullback into previous structure. Somewhere like that right there. So I'll be waiting for SNX to pull back, and I'm in buy mode now instead of being in sell mode, because of the fact that our higher time frame is now making new highs and breaking above the 50 EMA. Because of that information that I now have, I've switched my bias from let me look for sells to let me look for buys on all coins that are doing this, right? Next up, we have Dogecoin, which ended up being a really nice trade that we took here on the 1-hour chart. As we said in the video, we were just waiting for price to come back to around the 20-cent area. We got down to it and ended up getting this nice big green candle, which was buying pressure for me. I'll zoom in to make this easier to see. This big green candle right here was buying pressure. Market pulled back a little bit more, and I ended up getting involved. And because of all the buying pressure that came into Bitcoin, it ended up pushing up every coin, as I said, and this just happened to follow it, which ended up hitting our targets for a little over a 2-to-1 here on Bitcoin. Ethereum Classic, we had nothing on this. We've now, or since, actually pushed up. Let's go to our higher time frame. And I'm not seeing anything until we get another push up. If we get another push up out of Ethereum Classic, then why don't you tell me what you think, or you don't have to tell me, obviously, I'm just a dude on camera, but write in the comment section, what do you think the next steps are if we get a nice move out of Ethereum Classic up here? If that happens, then what I'll be looking for is a pullback to this area of structure looking left right here. I'll be looking for a pullback into that area before a possible buying situation here on Ethereum Classic. Next up, Matic or Matic. This trade worked out perfectly as well. As you saw from the video last night, we had a break into new highs that also broke above the 50-period moving average. Both of those insinuating we could see a possible reversal. We also had a breakout of this triangle pattern. With all of that coming together, dropping down to the 1-hour chart, finding a level of structure and waiting for buying pressure was a no-brainer. And that's exactly what we did. Now, moving forward here on Matic, again, almost like Ethereum Classic, I'm going to need to see a push higher before looking back at this level of structure for a pullback and possible rally even further to the upside. Next up, and lastly, we have Ethereum. I actually ended up adding to a position I already had on Ethereum last night or the night before last, whenever this happened, here in this zone, which averaged me in at a lower cost. We'll talk a lot more about that in later videos, but ended up getting in around 29.50 here. And the reasoning behind this, again, as we said in the video, we have rising support levels. We have a break of a level of structure. We have a break above the 50-period moving average. Putting all of that together and combining it to go, okay, well, all of this is showing me buying pressure. And if I'm seeing buying pressure enough, then that should cause a breakout to the upside. And that's exactly what we got, and should cause a possible reversal, which is what we saw here out of Ethereum and what we saw out of so many coins over the past day or so. Moving forward, what do you think I'm looking at for Ethereum? If you said waiting for price to pull back to this area of structure, you would be completely correct. That is exactly what I'm looking for to add to the position in Ethereum that I already have. So that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Again, if you are interested in getting something like this each and every week, then go ahead and go to TTCCrypto.com, put in your name and email address, and that'll show me if there's enough demand to actually launch something like this mainstream. If not, that's totally fine too. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like it, be sure to comment below. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell because we come out with content like this each and every week. With that said, I hope you trade green, and I'll see you in the next video. Talk soon.